threat of supplier leverage. A fourth environmental threat is supplier leverage. Suppliers make a wide variety of raw materials, labor, and other critical assets available to firms. Suppliers can threaten the performance of firms in an industry by increasing the price of their supply or by reducing the quality of those supplies. First, suppliers are a greater threat if the supplier's industry is dominated by a small number of firms. In these settings, a firm has a little choice but to purchase supplies from these firms. These few firms, those have enormous flexibility to charge high prices to reduce quality or in other ways to squeeze the profits of the firms in the industry to which they sell. Second, suppliers are a greater threat when their supply is unique or highly differentiated. The uniqueness of suppliers can operate in the almost any industry. For example, in the highly competitive world of television talk show, some guests, a supplier can gain surprising fame for their unique characteristics. Third, suppliers are a great threat to firms in an industry when suppliers are not threatened by substitutes. When there are no effective substitutes, supplier can take advantage of their position to extract economic profits from firms they supply. Fourth, suppliers are a great threat to firms when they can credibly threaten to enter into and begin competing in a firm's industry. This is called forward vertical integration. In this situation, suppliers cease to be suppliers only and become suppliers and rivals. Next is the threat from buyers' influence. The final environmental threat is buyers. Buyers purchase a firm's products or services. First, if a firm has only one buyer or a small number of buyers, these buyers can be very threatening. Second, if the products or services that are being sold to buyers are standard and not differentiated, then the threat of buyers can be greater. Third, buyers are likely to be more of a threat when the supplies they purchase are significant portion of the cost of their final products. In this context, buyers are likely to be very concerned about the cost of their supplies and constantly on the lookout for cheaper alternatives. Fourth, buyers are likely to be more of a threat when they are not earning significant economic profits. In these circumstances, buyers are likely to be very sensitive to cost and insist on the lowest possible cost and the highest possible quality from suppliers. Finally, buyers are more of a threat to firms in an industry when they have the ability to vertically integrate backward. In this case, buyers become both buyers and rivals and lock in a certain percentage of an industry sales. Next is environmental threats and average industry performance. The 5 environmental threats have 3 important implications for managers seeking to choose and implement strategies. First, they describe the most common sources of local environmental threat in an industries. Second, they can be used to characterize the overall level of threat in an industry. Finally, because the overall level of threat in an industry is according to SCP logic related to the average level of performance of a firm in an industry, they can also be used to anticipate the average level of performance of firms in an industry. Another environmental force, complementors. Professors Adam Brandenburger and Barry Nelbach have just suggested that another force needs to be added to the analysis of the profit potential of industries. These authors distinguish between competitors and what they call a firm's complementors. We have 3 kinds of competitors. First is direct competitors, new competitors, and substitutes. Indirect competitors, it is a situation in which two or more businesses offer products or services that are essentially the same. In new competitors, a high threat of new entrants makes an industry less attractive. There are low barriers to entry. Therefore, new competitors are able to easily enter into the industry. Next is substitutes or replacement competitors, also called phantom competitors, are the businesses that sell a product or service that's both different in category and type than new, but one which your customer could choose to spend their money instead. A firm's complementors help to increase the size of a firm's market, whereas a firm's competitors divide this market among a set of firms. Of course, the same firm can be a complementor for one firm and a competitor for another. It is also the case that a single firm can be both a competitor and a complementor to the same firm. This is very common in industry where it is important to create technological standards.